Addiction is a disease of disconnectedness, and connectedness is crucial to change and transformation. Whatever you practice, over time, you get good at. Practice is just the laborious repetition of an action until it becomes automatic. You are an addict, and addicts are used to instant change. You will be tempted to do everything at once. That is not a good idea. For example, you might notice that your thoughts turn to acting out when you are bored or maybe anxious or lonely. It is important to notice these feeling states and eventually to learn other ways to manage them. Once you have noted what was going on that prompted that urge, go on to note down the strength of the urge on a scale of 1 to 10 and how long it lasted. Record whether or not you acted on the urge, and if so, what you did, and how long it persisted. Then note down how you felt afterwards. If you can, see whether you can identify any alternative behaviors that you could have pursued instead of acting out. This process of thinking about alternative behaviors will become important in the overall journey into full recovery. The new strategy will not give so much immediate gratification, but it will give you much better long-term results. It is a normal human need and a persistent human longing. That is why we call it a drive instead of merely an option. In all of these common terms that describe a shame experience, there is a reference to disappearance and death. Death is, after all, the final and complete disappearance. We seek to reveal in others what we seek to conceal in ourselves. Shame is reduced, even wiped out, on exposure to the light. There is no longer any need to live a double life or to hide a broken part of the self from others. In fact, we're all broken. Through habitually turning to it to self-soothe, brain organization becomes sensitized to its stimuli, and this heightens the response to its cues. There are 4 possible attachment styles: secure, avoidant, anxious, and disorganized. Secure means I'm okay and you're okay. Avoidant means I'm okay and you're not okay. Anxious means you are okay and I'm not okay. Disorganized means you're not okay and I'm not okay. Once you understand that this dysfunctional regulation was set up in childhood, there is a reduction in shame because you are not responsible for having the problem. However, you are responsible for what you do about it. There are really only 4 relevant emotions: anxiety, shame, anger, and loss. Anything else you might write is a euphemism for one of these 4 feelings. Now I know that when I feel shame, it is just that my core feeling of shame has been triggered, and not that I am, in fact, shameful. This process provides many exit points and opportunities to think of the negative outcome and to change your mind. Internet behavior is much more difficult to leave behind. This is simply because it is so easy. The process is so quick, and it does not allow much time for an argument between the part of you that wants to do this and the part of you that does not. You didn't ask for it, and you are not responsible for having it. You are only responsible for how you manage it. My own view is that the internet can bring a latent script to the forefront of the mind by its continued use. It is not so much the creation of a new script, but the resurgence of a buried script. If you are an addict or have a quirky behavior, be assured that you did not ask for it. Of course, you're responsible for the way you deal with it. You're responsible for actions and for their consequences, but you are not responsible in the first place for their presence in your life. Bear in mind that they are not saying that addiction is genetic, but rather that a predisposition towards addiction is genetic. I take the view that it is the family environment that is important for determining whether the tendency towards addiction will turn into the reality of an addiction. We either flee, we fight, or we are paralyzed. The foundation events that shaped our patterns probably took place before you had any real memory, but a part of you does remember nevertheless. The responses are encoded in your behavior, even if not in your conscious memory. Our parents usually did the best job they knew how. They are not to blame. After all, they're just someone else's children acting out unconscious internalized rules and mechanisms in their adult lives, just as you do.